Welcome to another episode of Chappy Hour. This is the podcast where I sit down with a friend, have a drink, and it doesn't need to be 5 o'clock to join. Today I have my lovely guest on, Ananya. Ananya, this is not your first episode on the show.
It is not.
She's basically a regular now.
I am. I'm like a featured guest.
And I think we're going to have to keep her for a lot more. You're like basically a co-host at this point.
You know, it just works.
The people love it. I love it.
We're the golden retriever to the black cat.
Actually, though, that's a perfect description of us.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to get started, so cue the intro. All right.
Wait, don't we do the clink?
Oh!
Yeah,
okay,
where's your drink?
I don't have a... I'm just gonna...
Your mug's over there.
I'm going to redo my... Okay, wait. I can't believe I almost forgot that.
This is like our first episode all over again.
It literally is. It's been a couple weeks since we recorded an episode, and clearly I wasn't prepared. All right, what are you drinking on the show today?
Because it's back to being like minus weather, so I'm just drinking peppermint tea.
Nice. I'm drinking tea as well. I'm not drinking peppermint tea. I'm drinking a green tea. It's a matcha powder that's got like sugar in it already, but it wasn't sweet enough for me, so I mixed in strawberry jam.
Ooh.
And milk.
That actually sounds really good.
And actually, it's really good. I just was like craving something sweet, and I thought that strawberry jam would do it. So.
Yeah, no, that sounds really good.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's get started. Welcome to Chappy Hour. It's kind of like happy hour, but with me, Chloë Chapdelaine, where I catch up with a friend over drinks. It doesn't need to be 5 o'clock to join, so grab your favorite drink, sit back, relax, and let's get started. Cheers. All right, on this show, we like to start off strong, and this section is called I'll Take a Double. This is the section where we start with our life hack because it's good enough that we want it to go around to everyone, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have a life hack that I think is pretty cool. I don't use it that often, but when I do use it, I feel like the coolest person in the room.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
And I'm going to tell you about it. When you buy a family-size bag of chips, so not just like a little personal singular Halloween size, like a normal size bag of chips, instead of pouring it out and dumping it into a separate bowl, you can turn the bag into a bowl itself, and it's really, really easy so that you don't have to transfer it, you don't have to get another dish dirty. You can just eat straight out the bag, and it's basically a bowl in itself.
I've done that.
This is a party pleaser. Everyone loves this. So what you do is you take your bag and you open it fully. You don't just do like a little partial tear. You have to open the top.
Yeah.
You roll the tops down, kind of like when you're rolling up your pants. You start to roll the top down. You do 1, 2, 3, as many as you want until it starts to form a thick
rim.
Yep, that's the word. So then once you've got your rim, what you're going to do is you're going to take the bottom of the bag where the two corners are. Yeah. And you're going to start, this is kind of, it's hard to explain, but what you're going to do is you're going to kind of shimmy. You're going to shake the bag so that you're moving where the chips are, and you're going to start to push those corners down and under so that they go up into the bag. And the bottom then isn't just this flat bottom. What's happening is when you're pushing up the corners, you're curving it so that the bottom actually starts to become flat. And instead of it being a bag, it's now a tube with a bottom that is concave.
Okay, like almost like a cylinder.
Yeah, like a cylinder. Okay. And then when you go to set it on your table, it sits up perfectly. People can reach in and grab them without getting their hands all grubby from the oil on the sides of the bag.
Yeah.
And it's so practical.
Honestly, that is actually a really good hack. And I have used it, so I know it's really good.
It works.
Yeah, it does work.
Do you have a life hack?
I do. Do you know who Nara Smith is?
Yeah, I'm obsessed with her.
Okay, so she has like some like really weird like midnight snacks, but the one thing she taught me was what she does is she tosses grapes into the freezer when they're almost like kind of mushy, because it still retains like the water and it still keeps them crisp, so you can still have them for like a week later rather than like having mushy grapes, which is perfect because I have a texture thing where I don't like mushy things, and I've been doing that for like the past week now and I love it.
I am actually obsessed with this one because I've tried it and I love it. Have you tried tossing them in things? Like,
yeah, so I had tried like that trend where you like put lemon juice in it and then you put like the Jello mix, which is really good. But sometimes I just want to have grapes without it being extra sugary. And this was just a great hack. I was like, oh my God, why didn't I even think about that? It's like, yeah, that would just keep it crisp on its own and the longevity would be so much longer.
Yeah. Things that I've tossed them in that I think are really good if you're ever doing this.
Yeah.
Number 1, I've used monk fruit sugar or monk fruit sweetener.
Okay.
Which is just basically sugar with lemon juice. So it's kind of like sweet and sour at the same time.
Ooh.
So that's the first one I tried that I loved. I especially love it with lime juice because I love lime flavored things.
Yes.
But something else that I tried recently that I really like on them is Jell-O powder.
Okay, I have tried the Jell-O powder.
And it kind of reminds me of like sorbet. Like the texture of them is like tastes like Jolly Ranchers, but it has a texture of like a sorbet, like sherbet. Well, anyways, I think that those are 10 out of 10 life hacks, and if you haven't tried them already, you need to, because these are real tried and trusted life hacks that I think are perfect. But we're going to move into the daily special section of this podcast.
Ooh.
This is the section where we talk about what's trending, what we're seeing, whether we like it or not. And I think we've got some interesting topics here today.
We do.
And the very first one is something that is a little bit mystical, a little bit different to me, because I don't know a ton about it, but I've just started seeing it on my For You page.
Okay.
I actually didn't even see it on my For You page. So what happened is I scroll TikTok all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm scrolling and I'm in the comment section and I'm seeing tons of comments that are saying, Pookie is looking absolutely fire today. What does that mean?
Okay, so it all started with, if you've been on TikTok, you know about Jet and Campbell. And they're this really cute couple. And again, this can be two different takes on it, where she presents her outfit and she just describes like what she's wearing, whatever it is. And then she introduces her significant other. Like, he talks about his outfit, but before he does that, he's like, you're looking fire, Pookie. Or like, this is the best you've ever looked, Pookie. So this trend started where it's called Pookie-Lore, where it's just like the significant other essentially complimenting the girl. And it's been polarizing because so many like couples where like obviously like the girlfriends are like to their boyfriends, they're like, look, like I wish you did that for me. And then the boyfriends are like, well, how do you know he's genuinely doing that? Like, how do you not know that maybe she's like, hey, I want you to say this because I think this would be like, you know, this could pop off. Which is kind of fair, like, because it's her page.
Yeah.
It's not his page. It's
Definitely.
her page. So she could be directing him, but he's just so, I can't explain it. He's just so awkward.
I know what you mean. He's kind of got this little like smirk when he's saying it.
Yeah.
Like he really is like excited to say these words.
Like he is, like when he's like, you look fire today, Pookie. Like I actually believe it.
I thought Pookie was her name. I genuinely thought that her name was Pookie for the longest time. Like I thought he was like, Pookie, my girl. Like I didn't realize that was a pet name.
I feel like Pookie's just like an endearing term, being like honey or like cutie. Like that's how I took it as. But it was just funny because like it just turned into like a trend where like everyone's like, oh my god, Pookie's so cute.
So what's kind of funny to me here is, first of all, the amount of men who don't understand why women are obsessed with this trend. Because kind of what I've seen is so many girls are watching these videos and they love it. They're eating it up. They're like, this is so great. This man is so complimentary of his girl.
And he's like obsessed with her.
And he's obsessed with her. And not just like by giving her compliments, but he bought her a Kelly. They went skiing in Aspen together, and like
he took her on like the bougiest trip to like Paris,
taking her to these fancy dinners. Yeah. And it goes beyond just giving her compliments, and the women are so supportive in the comments that I'm seeing. Totally. They are loving it. But what I am seeing is a lot of doubt from men.
That's exactly it.
They don't believe it, and that's what you were saying.
Yeah, the boyfriends all think that it's fake, that like she is like, well, this is my page, it would be a great trend if you did that. But to me it feels like he's actually being quite genuine, because he doesn't come off like fake enthusiastic. He's actually kind of awkward. Do you know what I mean?
And, okay, this is my argument also for the girls' side. If he were being directed to do this, and Pookie, or what was her name, Campbell was saying, all right, Jet, I really want you to compliment me in these ways in this video. Yeah. He's still doing it.
I know.
He's still saying, all right, girl, I got you.
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'll give you every compliment. And he's still got that level of...
He still has her back.
Yeah, he still has her back.
Yeah, that's so admirable.
So, well, this is just my opinion, but I don't see a lot of couples who are so like happy and quick to like compliment each other on social media. And that's why it's like such a like a trending topic, because everybody's like, it's different. You know, it's just something different.
I think women will be like, you know what? Like, I want that. I want a Jet where like, even if I have to be like, honey, just compliment me all the time. Like, let's just say her love language is like words of affirmation. He's going to do it because if he loves her, he'll do it. Right. Or they'll try to find a guy who's genuinely just going to give them the words of affirmation. Either way, I think women are just going to have higher standards to like wanting a jet.
I think that that's great.
Yeah, I think so too.
Raise those standards.
Yeah.
And one thing I think really interesting about this is part of the Pookie-Lore that I saw since I started diving into it is people started looking at their lives together from when they very first started dating, because they've been together a long time. It's not like a new thing.
No.
And Pookie went through a huge glow up. And for context, they're not a young couple. They're like probably mid-30s, maybe early 40s even, dare I say.
Yeah.
They've been together a long time, and Pookie wasn't always this girl wearing these extravagant outfits that you're seeing, because like right now the types of outfits you can expect are fur hats with tights with fancy leggings.
Everything is designer.
The bag, everything's designer. Like, it's great outfits. Yeah. I love them.
Same.
And
he's buying them. And he like loves her.
And that's what kind of plays into the argument to me that he really loves her, because he's been there since day one. And I think that all women should raise their standards.
I agree.
But another trend that is related to the outfits that you're wearing and posting them on social media is not to do with one person, but it's to do with an entire aesthetic. It's called the mob wife aesthetic.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
About a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, maybe even 3, in the recent few years, there's been an aesthetic that's popped up where they've called it
the clean girl aesthetic.
The clean girl aesthetic. And what this is meaning is it's a style that women or men are dressing in that is characterized by looking clean.
Yeah,
and
like minimalist.
It's very minimalist. So it's had a huge shift from the like 2016 makeup trends where women were doing like a full beat every day, and they had the lashes and
the eyeshadow,
all of that. It really pushed away from that, and instead it was very natural brows with no products, like maybe just like brushed up, very clean looking skin without heavy contour or like concealer,
barely
or
any
like
foundation.
That. And the whole vibe was like a no makeup look, slicked back hair, put in a bun. And I had my own little feelings about clean girl aesthetic, because I really tried to play into it, but it just didn't always work for me, which I'll get into in a bit. But now all of a sudden everybody is starting to get really comfortable with this clean girl aesthetic. People are finally figuring out what products work for it, how to make it work, and there's been a shift suddenly, and now it's called the mob wife aesthetic. And a lot of people are having really mixed feelings about this, because so many women have been working the last few years to perfect this look, this whole vibe, this way that you carry yourself. It's more than just the way you do your makeup.
No.
And it's completely shifted. It's a whole attitude shift in itself. And the mob wife aesthetic is all about
big fur coats, like chunky jewelry,
hats,
like gold, like
harsh eyeliner.
Like, think of like The Sopranos.
Yes.
It's very like Sopranos, wearing like leather leggings, like the tall leather boots.
Maximalist, like
super
almost
maximalist.
Like tons of leopard print, like tight clothing, flashy makeup, dark, like smoky eyes. And I think it's great that there's a new look out there that's trending, but a lot of people are not sitting well with this.
No.
And why do you think that is?
I think it's because like the clean girl aesthetic lasted like 2 years, right? And like you bought into like home goods, you bought into like clothes, you bought into makeup, like you spent so much money, it almost feeds into like mass consumerism. And now you're like, okay, like do I throw all of that out and like start buying like fur coats and like start buying leather leggings and like
Well, I have something to say on that. If you're planning on buying a fur coat, which is being pushed by this aesthetic, don't buy new. First of all, go to a thrift store and get a vintage thrifted fur coat. There are so many good vintage furs out there that are in perfectly good condition, and you don't have to have an animal lose its life for that. Instead, you're giving an animal that's lost its life a second life by wearing it, instead of having it potentially go to a landfill. Sorry, that was just a little side note. Or if you're gonna buy fur, make it vintage fur. Continue. Sorry.
And that's to the other point. It's like you don't have to buy into the aesthetic also. You can just do your own thing. You don't have to necessarily go out and buy like a fur coat. You don't necessarily have to go out and like now wear like smoky eye. I feel like it's funny because the pushback is from all these people being like, when does it stop? And it's like, that's true. Like, when does it stop? If you like the clean girl aesthetic, keep doing it. Why do you have to stop it? Right?
And I think part of social media has made a lot of people go into this mindset of, I need to be on top of the next trend. I need to always be doing this to be cool. I have to be caught up with every single trend that's going out all at once. And all of a sudden people are realizing that's unattainable.
It is.
That's not sustainable.
No.
And when are we going to shine as individuals? Because if every single person has just spent all of their time becoming cookie cutter versions of each other to then just completely shift into this mob wife look.
Yeah, I know.
Is that having your own personal thoughts and feelings and preferences and style, or is that just fitting into this mob mentality of this is so what funny. I need to
Love
do?
The fun. But you know, it's funny because like a whole bunch of Ukrainian and Russian girls and Slavic girls essentially were saying that it's funny you guys call it mob wife look, but really it's like the old Slavic girl look also, because they also wear like the gaudy jewelry, like the fur coats, like the big boots. That's also their style. So it's like, isn't it also like the Eastern European look?
Yeah. Well, when I was just in Romania, I actually felt influenced to get a fur hat. I didn't.
Did you?
But the amount of women walking around in Romania with fur hats, they look,
because it's normal.
They look great, but it's normal there already. It's not. They didn't start wearing them because it was an aesthetic.
And that's the thing. That's when it was funny, because I saw so many Slavic girls being like, "This isn't a trend for us. We actually wear it regularly because we're cold or like the place where we live." And it's funny how like it's now being turned into a trend, but they aren't even getting credit for it. It's getting credited because of the whole like New Jersey Sopranos, you know, that look.
And can I tell you my beef that I had with the clean girl aesthetic? So like moving into mob wife aesthetic, there are pieces and bits that I might take, and I suggest like if there's stuff that you resonate with, take it for yourself as well. But you don't have to buy in. But okay, this is what I didn't like about the clean girl aesthetic for me.
Okay.
I have curly hair naturally, like wavy curly hair, as do you.
Yeah.
It is so difficult for me to get a slicked back, perfect ponytail or bun without frizzies everywhere.
Yeah.
I am jealous, honestly, of the girls who can just pull their hair back and it's naturally this beautifully slicked back. You know how much product and wax and gel it takes me to put in my hair to get that smooth look?
Yeah.
That's
no,
that's not clean. That is enough to, if I stuck a piece of paper on there, it would stick to my hair.
Oh, 100%. Okay, this was my beef with the clean girl aesthetic, because it was like the whole no makeup, right?
Yeah.
The whole thing was like, don't wear foundation, like try to keep it like tint. Okay, I'm a different skin tone, whether I am winter, summer, and spring. I can literally not keep like one tint. I have to get like different concealers, like different foundations, just because different times of the year, right? So it's like I literally cannot be like, I'm just going to put on one serum and I'm going to be going out the door. I literally can't do that, unfortunately. So for me, I was never going to be able to fit into the clean girl aesthetic, because I need to unfortunately wear foundation sometimes just to like even out my skin tone.
And on that topic about buying makeup and serums and everything like that, have you been in Sephora lately?
Yeah, I haven't been in a few months, but I know what you're going to talk about, I think.
Sephora Kids.
Yeah.
Sephora Kids.
Yeah.
It's been all over my For You page. Kids, like 10-year-olds, going into Sephora and just destroying the place. I have heard so many Sephora and Ulta workers from... do we have Ulta in Canada?
We don't. I think it's just an American thing.
Okay, so I've heard so many Sephora and Ulta workers complaining about these like 8 to 10-year-old kids who shouldn't even have their own spending money yet, realistically, who are coming in and dropping like huge amounts of money. And I'm not talking like $100 or $200. No. I'm talking like thousands of dollars on drunk elephant products. Basically what's happening is there's some influencers who have kind of shifted their content for makeup content and skincare to cater towards all ages, and not just women who are wearing makeup on a regular basis ages, but also to young people. And now there are these kids who are suddenly like, I need this spray and I need this serum and I need this skincare item. And now there's kids who are like 10.
Also Charlotte Tilbury's the other one that's like really popular for makeup.
Yeah. And Rare Beauty even.
Yeah.
So many of these brands, and these kids are going, and sometimes they're even buying skincare products that are not suited for their skin. They're like, they've got retinols, things
vitamin C.
Yeah, things that when you are putting on your skin at 10 years old, like it could cause some problems down the line, because your skin is already perfect. Like you don't need to be using these harsh chemicals. And it's gone beyond just kids spending money. Like it's become a whole problem in stores, because now the shopping experience for the regular customer is not good.
No, it's changed. And it's funny. There's this girl who was saying, like, she's like, I shouldn't be scared of 10-year-olds, but I am, because when she was shopping for like a sunscreen, literally this 10-year-old just like shoves her around and is like, are you actually looking at that? And she's like, yes, I'm just reading the ingredients. She's like, okay, you're not going to buy it. She just literally like picks it up. And again, this is like a tinted sunscreen. Does a 10-year-old need it? Maybe, but like, do they need to spend like $48 on it? I don't know. But she was just like, I was just so surprised because like she spoke like an adult, essentially being like rude. And she was like looking around. She's like, where's your parent? Like, how are you coming around here like trying to buy a $50 product?
And I think that's part of the problem, is not just the kids, but it's the parents. Where are the parents?
Yeah.
Why are you sending your 8-year-old, 10-year-old kid into Sephora with a credit card with no spending limit and letting them, first of all, boss people around? Yeah. Second of all, destroy the testers. Apparently they're like mixing products and creating potions or smoothies, they call them, and they're just using excess amounts of product, not actually testing them out, just to like mix things. And then they're just causing all these problems. They're getting up to the front counter, they're having issues with the person who's checking them out, the workers, just like this huge array of issues. At any point, I think if a parent stepped in and said, hey, you don't need to do that. That's not what we do in stores. That's not how we shop. That's rude, or that's messy.
It's like really weird entitled behavior. Again, I'm like, I don't know how that happens. It's like, yeah, is the parent just not around? Because like if I saw my child doing that, like shove around a 28-year-old, I'd be like, oh my God, like I'm embarrassed. Like why did my 10-year-old do that?
Do you think they're walking out because they're embarrassed and their kids are just out of control?
I just feel like maybe it's like lazy parenting. Like maybe
it has to be.
Because like I feel like maybe like they don't get time to like shop or do things. Yeah. So they're like, okay, I'm just going to give my kid money. They're going to go do whatever they want. So they obviously are like, again, they're enthralled by Sephora. So they just go in and then they're doing whatever they want. And like the parents aren't around.
So then moving forward, do you think that it would be a wise or a bad business decision if Sephora were to put in an age restriction for in-store purchases?
Okay, so this is kind of funny because like someone made that argument. It's like maybe there should be an age restriction. And I'm like, from Sephora brand perspective, why would they ever do that? Because they're making money.
Yeah, the kids are the ones who are spending $1,000 in one sitting on something that they don't even need. Yeah.
It comes down actually on the parents. It's like if they were to see it, but I don't know if parents like are sitting down and watching TikToks, but like really it's like parents need to be cognizant of the fact that their kids are doing this. I'm surprised that their kids aren't getting like rashes or like...
They probably are.
Like, you do you know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine, like I barely use retinol. I can't imagine like as a 10-year-old using retinol or like vitamin C serum. Like
no, the amount of times that I've like chemically burned my skin from just using a little bit too much or like stacking products a little too close together. Like I have a whole skincare schedule that I've meticulously planned out to make sure that I'm not using exfoliants too close together or stuff like that. Like I can almost guarantee you that education piece is not in place yet for younger audiences. But I just think it's crazy. I'm buying online now. And I like buying from them online because they have really good samples that you don't get in store. But this is a pretty dramatic topic. The messes that kids are making is a big one, but there's a bigger mess that I think we need to address, which is why we are moving into the On the Rocks section of the podcast. This is the section where we talk about the drama, the gossip, the crazy things that are happening, and I've got a crazy one to start with. Ooh. There is a situation right now happening online called Poopgate.
What?
And it has to do with a Victoria's Secret model who...
Oh, okay. I've briefly heard about this, but I don't know the details.
Habits that are less than sanitary. So what happened was there's a girl who came out on TikTok and she just wanted to air this experience that she had when she was younger. Yeah. And she's more grown up now and she thought it would be funny to expose this poor living situation that she was in when she was younger. So what happened is she was a model. She was living in a model apartment in New York. And if you don't know what a model apartment is, it's an apartment designed for models to stay in while they're doing jobs. And so if people are from out of the city, etc., they can live together. It's supposed to be like a communal thing. It's usually set up by an agency.
Sometimes think of it like America's Next Top Model, where they stuffed like 20 girls in like a New York apartment.
Basically exactly that.
Yeah.
And so this girl, I think she said that she was in her young 20s, maybe even late teens, and she was living with a bunch of other girls. And there's a whole bunch of them, and things were going pretty good until she started noticing that some of her things started going missing.
Oh.
And it wouldn't be big things like maybe a makeup product here or there or a clothing item. Didn't think too much of it. Sometimes the girls borrow each other's stuff. But it started to escalate. And it would be really random things that would go missing. Things that she wasn't expecting to go missing too. Like not just makeup, but like very random things. Then she decided to talk to the other roommates about it when it started to become a problem.
Yeah.
Said, hey, have you guys been borrowing my stuff? Or have you notice this? Like, are you guys having things going missing?
Yeah.
And the other girls immediately chimed up and are like, absolutely, yeah, I'm missing a lot of stuff. I don't know what's going on. I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff.
She was a klepto?
So what happened is there was a girl in their apartment who was stealing from the other girls.
Oh.
Which, it happens. And you never know somebody's living situations, but it wasn't like she was stealing essentials. She was stealing really random items. Okay. Fair enough. So sure enough, this girl, they were able to figure out who it was who was likely stealing from the other girls.
Yeah.
And this one girl came back from a party one evening and she was wearing a item. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But the girl immediately knew that was my item. Like, I'm pretty sure she was able to immediately know that's my item. Like, I'm pretty sure she even said there was a stain on it because she hadn't washed it. So she was able to call out as soon as the girl walked in. It was like, hey, nice shirt. The girl who's wearing it is like, oh, thanks, I just recently got it. And the girl called her out and said, no, you didn't. That's mine. And I know it's mine for these reasons. Called her out.
Yeah.
The girl took off because she had to go to this really big party that evening.
Okay.
So the other girls watched this interaction and they're like, what is going on? We need to go and find her stuff. Like, this girl 100% is stealing. That was just the icing on the cake. We know for sure. Like, we knew before, but now we need to address it because, like, that was her chance to say, hey, I'm so sorry. I just borrowed it. I was in a rush. She didn't do that. We're breaking in.
Yeah.
So they decide they're going to break into her room.
Okay.
And see what's in there and see if they can find their stuff. So they break in, they find their stuff, but they find a lot more.
Oh,
this girl is basically living out of her suitcase.
Okay.
So she hasn't fully unpacked. She's got the suitcase. And when they walk in, the room stinks. It smells really bad.
Okay.
And they're like, what could this be? So they open the suitcase and they start to find not just like the things that they noticed were missing, but so much more. This girl is apparently a Victoria's Secret model, the one who was stealing.
Okay.
And the girl who made the video says it's not just any Victoria's Secret model. It's one that everybody knows and loves. She's active on TikTok. You guys love to give her love. So it's somebody that we probably know about.
Ooh, I hope it's not one I like.
I know. And this girl had really unhygienic habits. So in her suitcase, they have found used tampons, dirty underwear, and poopy toilet paper.
They have a bathroom, I'd assume.
Why would you need to have poopy toilet paper? Now, I want to acknowledge, I understand that there are absolutely mental health cases where it could prevent people from being able to, you know, clean up after themselves normally. And there are like situations where
like hoarding.
And stuff like that.
That's a behavior.
Absolutely. There are like behavioral challenges that people might have, but
that's like, no.
In this situation, the girl said she didn't think it was that because the girl was doing very well in every other aspect of her life.
Right.
And you never know, but I just wanted to throw that out there. But they had to literally take the suitcase and put it out on their fire escape because it smelled so rank. Like, and they said immediately,
that's gonna be a biohazard.
Yeah, immediately after putting it outside, it made the room smell better because her nasty stuff that she's got in the suitcase like wasn't in there anymore. Like, just so disgusting. But it kind of made me wonder about all of the other crazy roommate stories that are out there because there are so many. And it kind of made me think of a personal one that I have, and it's not that bad.
Okay.
But first, I want to talk to you about this situation, and I'll get into mine after. What would you do if you were living with somebody like that?
Honestly, I don't know. Like, there's being dirty, and then there's just being like, what? Like, how's that even possible? Like, and the fact that she's a Victoria's Secret model, and like you don't know like what's behind closed door.
Yeah, and apparently to the public, she presents completely normal.
Well, that's funny because I would say that based on like a really famous TikTok influencer right now, she had like a throw up dress in her closet and like
Alex Earl.
Yeah.
She literally came on and was making this video where she's like, hey guys, we're going to clean out my closet today. This is a dress from a year ago that I puked on.
Yeah.
And she didn't wash it and she kept it in her closet.
I was like, listen, if it's like really badly stained or whatever, I throw it out. I don't even think about like twice.
Trying to wash it, yeah.
Or like you get it dry cleaned. But for a year of it being just sitting in your closet, be like, oh yeah, like I forgot about this. You're like, would have, I don't know, to me.
How do you not notice? No, I would be, if I had a puke covered dress in my closet, I think it would eat away at me.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, like it's gonna make my other clothes stink and like I need to wash that. Like that would really be wearing at me.
Yeah, and I don't understand that. Like, especially because like it's funny because like the whole clean girl aesthetic was a thing. So
and
like
I'm pretty sure that a lot of people associated the clean girl aesthetic with Alex Earle, who also was the one who had the puke dress in her closet.
That's what I mean. Like, it made no sense. It's like you're literally promoting this aesthetic that's supposed to be like hyper minimalist, like super clean, but it's like, but you're also not that.
My crazy roommate situation that I had, I just want to share because it's such a crazy story personally, and I haven't told a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's not that at all. It's not that at all.
I hope not.
And I also admit, by the way, I used to be a really bad roommate. So I just want to like apologize to my past roommates. When I was in first year university, I only used paper plates because I'm serious. I couldn't bring myself to wash plates because I was dealing with a lot, like I was saying, like mental health issues. Yeah. And the thought of having to wash a plate was just a little too much. This is also before I was diagnosed with ADHD. Okay. Which, by the way, once I got a diagnosis, I've made leaps and strides since then for cleanliness. Okay. But this situation was so crazy, and it actually didn't have anything to do with my roommate herself. She was great. She was lovely. It was just a bad situation. Yeah. I'm living in university res. Okay, I'm living in like a little townhouse. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I've got 3 other roommates. It's my first year like living with people. Yeah. You know, I hadn't really had that experience before. One of my roommates turns 18. She was 17. She turned 18. What do you do when you turn 18 in Alberta? You go to the bar. Mm-hmm. You go and have some fun. And so we went to this bar called Knoxville's. It was a great old time. And it's her first time at the bar. And it is going great. She's having so much fun. Yeah. We were all having so much fun. We're celebrating her birthday. Yeah. There's this man on the dance floor who starts dancing. And he's like really, really giving her. He's like, he's just going hard with these dance moves. Not just like grinding, but just like whipping out these crazy dance moves for a dance floor. Like just like taking up a lot of space. Okay.
He's got all the moves.
She's infatuated. Oh. Loves his dance moves. And I'm glad she liked them. I mean, that's some people are into that, you know? Great. So she is just infatuated with this man. Yeah. They like make eye contact, start chatting, super into each other. Oh. At the end of the night, they go home together. Okay. We're happy for her, whatever. Yeah. By the way, this man, he was a little bit older, and we could tell from looking at him, but yeah we didn't think too much of it. Mm-hmm. Basically, it's the next morning. We still haven't heard from her. So we like send her a text. We don't hear back right away. So we're a little bit concerned. We don't hear back until that evening, and we still haven't seen her. We're like, okay. We get a text, and she's like, hey guys, I'm okay. And we're like, we really hope so. Like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm having so much fun. I'm hanging out with this guy I met at the bar. Let's call him Josh. Fast forward another night. Mm-hmm. She's still not home. And we're like, girl, you have not been home for 2 nights now. Yeah. Like, are you still wearing your same clothes from the bar? Like, what's going on? And we actually make her FaceTime us because we were concerned about her. And we're like,
maybe she's kidnapped.
I know, like maybe she's kidnapped. Like anybody could be texting saying I'm fine. Yeah. She FaceTimes us. She's doing great. We're happy for her. Oh. She's like, no, this man is awesome. He made me a goat cheese salad. Oh. We're hanging at his own apartment. Things are good. So we're like, awesome. But like you're still wearing your same clothes from the bar. Like you need to come home and have a shower and
like change out.
School's starting. Like, let's get to class. Yeah. So she comes home. All's good. Anyways, she starts seeing this guy. They hit it off. They start a relationship. I'm pretty sure they say I love you within like 3 days. Ooh. He says it first. It's love bombing. It's very intense right off the bat. So we're like, we need to meet this guy because like when we met him the first night, it just like
something was
he was just dancing, you know, like we didn't really get to know him. So she invites him over. All's good. He comes in. Yeah. Lets himself in, first of all. Oh. Opens the door, yells, I'm home. Which we're like, okay, sure. Weird. I mean, weird. Like, I mean, there's 3 girls plus her living in this apartment. Like, you'd think that you'd knock just in case, but whatever. Walks in, goes straight to the fridge. Okay. Grabs an orange juice. It starts chugging out the bottle, which is a good thing. It was hers. Adult? He's an adult, by the way. Okay. We find out later he's 28. Okay. So he's 10 years older than her. Wow. But I'll get there. Chugs out the bottle. It's a good thing it's her orange juice because I would have flipped out if that was mine. Pissed. Grabs a cheese string. One of mine, by the way. My free cheese string. Eats it. We're like, okay. Sits down, puts his feet up on the coffee table, starts chilling. So we're kind of like looking at each other, but we're kind of looking at each other with a little bit of side eye. Kinda, you're like it's what? Just a little bit odd the way that he, you know, just made himself so comfortable at home. We just like don't have great vibes. We're just not vibing with this guy straight up. Anyways, we're not going to stop her. She's having a good time. Fast forward to next week. The people a couple houses down, they're having a frat party. The boys' house. This is our guy friends. We're really close with them. We're excited. She's like, I'm going to invite Josh. So we're like, okay. But that's a little bit odd because Josh is like 10 years older than us. Mm. So just a little bit weird, but we're like, sure, invite Josh. Mm-hmm. Josh comes that evening. Mm-hmm. He shows up. He's high on coke, which lots of people do it, but we didn't. None of our friend group did coke. We would just, when we would party, we would just have like homemade wine, which we would make in the basement of our dorms, by the way. We would make our own alcohol. Like, that's the craziest we would get. It's making your own alcohol. But that's a different story. But this guy shows up like cracked out, and clearly he's super high on coke, but he's being chatty. He's still being friendly. Like, he's still making friends. So we're like, oh, whatever, it's fine. The night goes on. My roommate is like chatting, socializing. He's like not really loving that she's socializing with other people. So he goes and starts to socialize with other people overly to be like, well, you're not going to talk to me. Well, I'm not going to talk to you type vibes. So we're like, that's a little bit odd.
Yeah.
Soon enough, one of the girls who lived in the house beside us, she comes down and she's like, I just need to tell you something, and I'm going to be super straightforward because like I like you, we're neighbors, but your boyfriend Josh just tried to hook up with me. Like, he said, let's go to the bedroom and have sex. Like, literally straight up.
What?
So we're like, whoa, like what? Like, I thought that they were like
in love,
like super into each other.
Yeah.
So my roommate, she was already really frustrated with the fact that he was being very disrespectful at the party to her and to other people, and just by showing up on drugs. Like, it was just kind of not the vibe that she had planned for.
Yeah.
So she is like, you know what? I'm not going to let you sleep over tonight. Like, you can go home. We're going to deal with this another night.
Brave.
So the other roommates and I, we had already gone to bed. We're like, we're going to go to sleep already. We're tired. Yeah. It's not a crazy night. We're not going out or anything after that.
Yeah.
She stayed out a little bit later. And then when she went to go to bed, there's a bit of a commotion.
Okay.
And we heard some yelling and stuff. And so we come out and she's crying. And we're like, what's going on? And she's like, I kicked him out. I told him to leave because he tried to hook up with neighbor. And like, I told him to go home. And he was really, really upset.
Right.
And we're like, oh no, like, that sucks. We're so sorry. We're here for you. No worries.
Yeah.
The part that made her so upset was when he left, he wasn't just angry. He made a death threat, and he said that he was going to come and kill all of us and burn our house down.
What?
And so she's very upset and she's scared.
Yeah, of course.
So we let the guys know who lived a few houses down, because there were some big, strong men who were like bodybuilder type, like strong dudes who lived a couple houses down. We're like, just so you know, we're a little bit scared. We're gonna lock our door, but we just want to let you know that we're in this position, and the guy who you met tonight, he's not happy. So they're like, no worries, if anything happens, we'll help you out.
Yeah.
Good, because they live 2 houses down. A couple minutes later, this man, Josh, comes back, punches through our front window, breaks, like, literally blood everywhere, punches through the window, kicks down the door, breaks into our house. We are so scared. We're on the phone with 911.
Yeah.
We have barricaded ourselves into my bedroom. It was so scary. It is such a good thing that there are heavy bolts on those doors. We were so scared. While this is happening, when he's trying to break into our house, the guys who we let know a couple houses down saw it happening. So one of them comes, literally an angel. They get in a fist fight.
Whoa.
They are literally full on fighting. Cops are on the way, but they're like having a full fight. The one guy who was our neighbor broke his hand in the fight from punching Josh in the face. So really, really, really horrible. And then the cops that night said, you guys aren't able to stay here because we can't arrest him right now for whatever reason. I don't remember if he fled. I don't remember the exact situation.
Okay.
But they said, you cannot sleep here right now. We're going to put you in emergency housing. So I, for like a week of my life in first year university, had to live in emergency housing where we weren't supposed to tell people where we were living, because we were on the hideout basically from Josh, who wanted to kill and murder all of us, who now knows that we called the cops on him, who also, rumor was, and I don't know the truth behind this, but people are like, you specifically need to stay in emergency housing because he might have gang affiliations, which we didn't know about.
Oh my God.
He also was apparently like a continuing education student at the university I was going to, which is like part of how they bonded. We're like, oh, we're both students, which is part of why she didn't realize he was so old, even though he had like a full-on receding hairline. But he got expelled, I'm pretty sure. But it was just a crazy situation. Anyways, that was my craziest roommate situation. It had nothing to do with the girl. Like, she was a sweetheart and she was young and she didn't know. It had entirely to do with Josh, and I'm pretty sure he might be in jail these days. We don't really know what he's up to.
Honestly, the only advice I can give to like girls who are like super young is like, if a dude who's 28 has no friends who are his own age or can't attract a girl who is his own age, there is a freaking reason.
Yeah.
Like, there's truly a reason for that. Their mental capacity is at that level. That's honestly what it is.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. have you even seen that when I look back at some of my past relationships with guys I dated? Like, oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Like, and like you could be like 25 and you could be dating a 25-year-old and you're like, oh my God, like it's not the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like imagine like dating a 28-year-old who has a mental capacity of 18. You're like, oh my God, you're going to be like this at 40.
And there's a reason I think that he chose her because he probably thought he could manipulate her. Exactly. But you've got a story for yours about red flags in men manipulating women, drama.
Oh, okay. So there's been, I forget his name. It's okay. He's not even that relevant.
We don't need to know his name.
We don't need to know his name. Mm-mm. Anyways, there's this dude who's been pretty trending on TikTok, primarily because how much he doted on his girlfriend. Now, we never really got to see his girlfriend. It was mostly him talking about like all the interactions he had with other people while his girlfriend was around. Mm-hmm. So like the trope would be like, I know my girlfriend is pretty because she got like free movie premiere tickets or something like that. Or like the brunch place, like they were like, we're gonna comp her meal. Like the trope would be like, I know my girlfriend is so pretty and like is so likable and XYZ because of such and such things. So then recently it came under fire, essentially, is because they broke up. Now when people break up, like it's okay, right? But then he went on to essentially be like, the reason why you're not going to see my girlfriend anymore is because we're broken up. And he gives like the reason where he's like, oh, like I just didn't think we were compatible and like XYZ, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And so most women were like, this is weird because like you were using the whole like my girlfriend's like the prettiest and like the bestest for like, and like not even showcasing her really. Like she wasn't even in any of his videos, right? Mm-hmm. Only to find out through the girlfriend because she made a video being like, that's funny that you put it out to the world. Like this is the reason why you're breaking up with me. But you didn't have the courtesy to say that to me. Like
so she didn't even... Wait.
She did, yeah.
No, so he never gave her that explanation and he just went and aired it online?
Yeah. And obviously everyone is like your girlfriend is saying, like your ex is saying that like you didn't even tell her why you broke up with her. You just essentially like texted her being like, I just don't think we're compatible.
Texted.
And, yeah, that's it. And like it ended, right? Whereas like on this video, he's listing out the reasons why he's not going to see his girlfriend anymore. And he lists out like why he didn't think that they were compatible, which he never gave her. So obviously all the women are like, oh, this is weird. Like, why didn't you like have a conversation with her? Like why is
if you loved her so much, like because
you were so attracted,
like a respect element because he was talking so highly of her previously, you think that you'd be able to sit down and be like, hey, I don't think this is gonna work and this is why, instead of just posting it online without even telling her and then breaking up with her through text.
Well, if all of your videos are about her, don't you think you owe her like some, I don't know, like level of dignity to be like, actually the reason I'm breaking up with you is like because of these reasons? And then like a whole bunch of people are like, oh, you should probably delete this like to respect her or whatever. And he's like, well, no, like I'm gonna monetize off it. So like he hasn't deleted any of his old videos because they're the ones that blew up, right? Like all of the ones.
So he's leaving the relationship videos up because he's getting views on them.
Oh yeah.
Because people are looking at the relationship now that it's ended and saying, oh, who is this girl that he's talking about? And they're looking for her.
Yeah.
And he's not giving her that respect piece of, I'm going to take it down so that people aren't prying into our past lives.
Yeah. And the funny thing is like all these women are like, it's funny, like everyone was kind of obsessed with him because he was like putting her on a pedestal, right? Being like, she's so pretty and she gets so much things, blah, blah, blah. And then this one girl was saying, it's funny, he was kind of using her. Like he wanted to use her prettiness for like his own advantage.
Yeah.
Like if she gets her breakfast comp, he's almost expecting like, oh, this whole thing's going to be comp because she's so pretty.
Yeah.
Like if we're getting into like,
so it's just like a very parasitic relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks for that girl. That poor girl.
Right?
She was used.
Yeah.
In every way, it feels like. And he approached it with such an arrogant attitude.
Oh, yeah.
Like, where's the compassion?
I know. He's like, well, I'm just going to make money off it anyways. Like, who cares? Like, we're done.
This is what gets me about this thing because I didn't do a deep dive, but I did look at this situation. Somebody commented, a girl commented on one of his videos saying, wow, are you just going to use her for views? He uses that comment, creates a video from that comment, and he's like, yes, I am going to use her for views. I'm making money from this situation. I'm absolutely going to use my trauma to make money because it's dumb not to. Like, you're dumb if you're not doing it. Basically slamming other people.
Of course.
I'm pretty sure. And so I thought that was interesting. But this might be a hot take.
Yeah.
I think if you are going to monetize off of a relationship or a failed relationship, that other person should be entitled to half of the compensation you're getting for your videos. Kind of like a divorce. Like totally. if you're going to make, say he makes $20,000 from these videos in TikTok creator fund money.
Yeah.
Okay. I think she should get 10 of it. I think she should. I agree. Should. She is equally a part of this equation, even if she is not consenting to be in it.
I agree. So yeah, why isn't she being compensated for all these stories? Because it's all her.
Mm-hmm. Do you know how long they were together?
Yeah, like 6 months.
Yeah. Or maybe even like 4.
Yeah, like really, really short time. But I felt bad for her because I was like, that's such a low blow to find out the reason that he broke up with you. He's putting it on video for the whole world, but he couldn't even tell you that over text.
You know, I think, though, we should move into the second last section of our podcast.
Okay.
Because we are talking a lot today. Yeah. And I don't want us to make you sit here forever. The next topic is called Shaken Not Stirred. And this is the section where we talk about something that shook us up this week. Something that's maybe interesting or surprising or just cool. And mine is something that blows my mind.
Okay.
It actually, I cannot comprehend that other people don't have this ability.
Okay.
It has to do with your mind's eye. Okay. So if I were to tell you right now, in your head, imagine a round sphere. Mm-hmm. Make it purple. Mm-hmm. Make it metallic. Make it shine. Mm-hmm. Now make it really big. Now make it really small. In your head, are you seeing that object that I'm telling you to see?
Yes.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, same. So when I envision something, like say a shiny red apple, in my head, I see a 3D shiny red apple floating in front of me. I can rotate it. Apparently, so many people do not have that ability to picture items in their head. They don't have a mind's eye. They can't envision a picture. Instead, it's just like the words that are associated with it.
Yeah, like they can see like an apple that's red and shiny, but they can't like visualize it.
Or there's different levels, like maybe they can like see like a 2D apple, image. But they can't get it to be 3D. And that's so crazy to me, the thought that people can't see things in their head.
Well, that's like the same as if you have an inner voice, like, you know, like when you're like thinking, like, do you talk to yourself in your head? Like
is there like an inner dialogue?
Yeah, it's like an inner dialogue. Like,
or
is
monologue,
there? Yeah, like
you're telling me that some people don't have that?
Yeah, like for some people, it's just empty. Like they they don't talk to anyone. They just say what's on their mind.
What?
I know.
That doesn't even make sense to me. Like, do you not think?
Well, that's what like I feel like that's how it relates to that. I feel like the people who can visualize like the 3D, I feel like they can have an inner dialogue. I feel like in their head they're like talking to each other.
They play together.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes me wonder, what do these people see when they read?
Just writing.
Because a thing for me, I love to read.
Okay.
And when I read, I am watching a movie. I am not seeing words. Like I have a whole, like it is so clearly, depending on how well the author writes, detailed in my head that I am watching a whole movie when I'm reading. Like it's playing out scene by scene. I am not looking at words. Are these people not getting that experience when they're reading, or is that why people don't like to read? I don't know.
See, I don't like to read, but I do visualize things. Is it always 3D? No, sometimes it's 2D depending on like how much information is provided.
Okay.
But I can still visualize it enough depending on like how much information is provided, right?
Yeah.
But to me, it's always surprising when people are like, yeah, like if I read something, I see nothing. They're just reading, like they're just seeing writing.
That blows my mind.
Yeah.
What's yours?
Mine is something I found this week. It's people charging a lot of money for the most simplest objects. So $120 for a tote bag.
Can't you get those for like $5 extra with like most stores? They'll be like, hey, if you spend $50, we'll throw in a free tote bag.
Yeah.
120?
Yeah.
What is it? Made of like Kevlar? What is that? Like, is
it's
that what that's
literally
called?
Just a canvas bag. Like whatever you find at like Trader Joe's for the Americans or like Superstore. So Emily Mariko is this like famous YouTuber and TikToker, and she just recently came out with a tote bag, and everyone was super excited because you're like, oh, like maybe she's gonna come up with like a cool design. No, it's like the most simplest tote bag that you can literally get from Trader Joe's, and it has her name on it on the inside in a label, and she's charging $120 for it.
Are people buying it?
Supposedly it was sold out.
What?
Yeah. My theory is that it's like a marketing tactic, and then maybe it was only like 5 available, and then...
maybe to get people talking.
Yeah,
I think that's a little extravagant. Like maybe if it wasn't just a tote bag, like say it was really well designed by her with ethically sourced materials,
even if it's a recycled tote bag, like maybe $40, $120.
Yeah,
mind you, USD.
USD. That makes it so much worse.
Yeah,
that literally makes it so much worse.
That's like almost $160 Canadian.
And are you paying for shipping on top of that?
You probably would have to.
Oh my gosh,
that's a lot of money.
Who has that money?
I know. And this segues into the next item.
Okay,
it's a mug with 2 handles. How much would you pay for that?
So it's kind of like a sippy cup, but like
adult.
A mug. Okay. Based on what you're thinking, I'm gonna say it's expensive. So like, let's say $65.
$120.
Mm-hmm. Why? Mm-hmm. Why?
Because it supposedly has this like strawberry print on it. So this scandal happened where this like influencer, she just quickly went to the farmer's market. She was just looking around and she saw this mug. She didn't check the price on it because it was like underneath.
Okay.
And when she went to go pay it, the girl was like, oh, like it's $120. And she was surprised because like the only like differentiating factor for this mug was that it had 2 handles instead of 1. And again, she played it off as a joke. She's like, it's okay, like whatever, like it should have been on me, like I should have checked the price. Anyways, the girl who actually created the mug was like, it's $120 because like it's all handmade and like blah blah blah. And everyone's like, well, it's just a mug with an extra handle. Like even if it is like artisanally made, like shouldn't it be max like $60 or something?
Yeah.
Like why is it $120?
No, that's a lot. Maybe I'm gonna backpedal a bit on what I said. My gut reaction is that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I do believe we should support our like local artists. You should pay artists and that they deserve to live.
Totally.
You know?
Totally.
They deserve to earn a living wage.
Totally.
But if you're using a mold,
yeah,
which is what she was doing to make this mug, like the only part is like her glazing it basically, or
decorating it.
I don't know how I feel. Like you also want to be fair to people, you know. You don't want to like rip people off. And that's something that I'm not 100% bought into yet, but there is something that I am 100%. And so we're going to move into the bottoms up section of my podcast. This is the section where we talk about what we are obsessed with, what we can't get enough of, what we want more of right now, and we think everybody else should know about. And that's why it's called Bottoms Up. So I'll let you go first.
Okay, so the one thing I'm like obsessed with right now is Neil the Seal.
I love him.
Just everything about him. I love that he stops traffic. I love that like police officers will literally like drive around him if he's just in the middle of the road. Yeah. I love the fact that like some homeowners will just like water him because he's hot.
And for anyone who doesn't know, Neil the Seal is this elephant seal in Tasmania who has just set himself up in this little town and become an icon. And people are videoing him. He's causing problems. He's got a vendetta against the police and traffic cones.
Oh, 100%.
And he's become a superstar.
Yeah, I love him. I love the fact that he'll just like lay on people's lawns and people are like, oh, hey, Neil. And you're like, what?
What a guy.
He's just an icon. Yeah.
Mine is not as cute as a seal who flops around and causes trouble. I'm obsessed with sewing. I got a sewing machine for Christmas and I didn't realize how easy it is to make your own clothes. Yeah. And how fun it is. It's like crafting for adults. It's like crafting with purpose.
It really is.
And I'd like to say I used to go and buy an $120 pair of pants.
Yeah.
And I could probably make that for like $5 now. That's what I've been doing. I'm obsessed with it. And I haven't made a ton, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. So
I love that.
Yeah, I've made like a vest and a skirt and
a dress,
a couple. And yeah, I'm loving it. I'm going to try to make a whole wardrobe for myself.
No, that's super exciting.
Yeah. But we are nearing the end of this podcast. We talked about a lot today, way more than I was expecting, and I loved it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed listening as well. We will have another episode coming next week because we are getting into our weekly flow of things, and I am so excited for what's to come. But I hope you guys all have an amazing day. Thank you for listening to the 4th episode of Chappy Hour. I'd also like to say, if you're listening right now, I got 24 5-star reviews. I literally want to cry when I say that. 24 5-star reviews. I'm so grateful. So all 24 of you guys, if you're listening, and I have 41 listeners right now, if you are one of my 41 listeners, I just want to say I'm so grateful for you right now. You are literally making my dream come true. If you haven't rated the podcast yet already, go and give it 5 stars if you enjoyed it. I am just so grateful. I just wanted to say that. So we are going to sign off. Thank you for listening, and cheers!